back to the show, everybody. As you can see, I have absolutely nothing on my wall. Seth's over there. Seth's over there. Yeah, you have nothing on your wall. But here we are, Wednesday afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern time on my brother's birthday. So first, let me start off and say a very, very happy birthday to the
happy birthday, Mitch.
To the artist formerly known as Mitch Palmer and now known as Mitch Byer, who took my grandfather's name a couple of years ago, which was absolutely awesome. So happy 47th birthday. Yeah, we're turning 46. So he's 47. So happy 47th birthday to my older brother. And if you want to call in and be on the show, we're happy to have you for your birthday.
Yeah, congratulations, buddy.
Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Yeah. So, and we'll have some more news about Mitch in the upcoming weeks. So we're really excited to hear everything that's going on with his life. And let me ask you something. How's your right hook? Is it any better than Juwan Howard's?
Yeah.
I mean, the open hand kind of was like, if you're gonna, that was your left. By the way, do you have a headband on, or is that an actual hat? Oh, it's a trucker. It's a trucker hat. Okay, it looked like a headband. I was like, oh, you're going really Roger Federer on all this.
I was going to say, without the talent, the looks, or the skill, sure.
Or the hair. But anyway, let me ask you, Juwan Howard. We saw what happened with Wisconsin. I thought he should be gone. Like, and I don't mean gone as in like the end of the year. I mean gone as in gone. Like after what happened with him in Turgeon last year, and then this year with what happened with Wisconsin. How are you a coach that can claim to keep your kids in line? And I use the word kids liberally, but kids in line when you have a temper like that.
Yeah, the moral superiority kind of takes a hit on that one, don't it? I didn't think he should be gone. I thought the suspension was fine, the 5 days, 5 games. I would have had no problem if he was suspended for the rest of the year. So whatever conference play, so on and so forth. Michigan's not going to fire Juwan Howard. They're just not. Unless it is so incredibly egregious, which it wasn't great.
Well, what would have been egregious? Him hitting a player instead of hitting a coach?
Probably following up with a left.
With a left? No, I'm serious. Left. But what would have done it if he had hit a player instead of hitting the opposing coach? So he hits an 18-year-old.
He hit him with. I think if he hit him with a closed fist, would have been it.
So the difference is an open hand versus a closed fist. Okay.
I slap you. I crack you across the jaw with a fist. It's too different.
I get it. I mean,
I know maybe it's just semantics. Look. Michigan's already dealt with the travails of Jim Harbaugh. Is he staying? Should he stay or should he go? The last thing they want to do is fire an immensely popular alumni who led the team to a Final 8 last year. And
I get that they don't want to do it. Like I totally.
They're not going to be pressured to. They're not going to be pressured to. I do think this is strike 2 of 3, though. I mean, strike being literal.
Let me ask you this. Would any other coach get 3 strikes in this situation?
No. But not every other coach was part of the Fab Five at Michigan.
I'd like to point out it is definitely different seeing Juwan Howard, all 6'9" of him, basically punch over everybody. What are there, like 3 coaches in the NCAA that could do that? Patrick Ewing being enough. Like, could you imagine that fist fight?
Danny Manning would be Danny Manning.
Right. So the 3 of them.
I'll tell you, that's a heck of a front line.
Yeah, those three having a fist fight above everybody else, like literally above everybody else. The punches would be above their heads.
No, are you saying would anyone else? Probably not. If Ewing had successful, Ewing's probably gone at Georgetown.
No, Ewing supposedly signed an extension last year, by the way.
Yeah, the teams after they made the tournament, the teams collapsed this year.
I know, but if he's got 4 more years on that contract, and it's been reported that he has 4 more years. I have not seen that, but you're going to pay Patrick Ewing $20 million or $16 million not to coach?
That is, here we go. Details of Patrick Ewing's contract.
They're not going to release the number. It's a private university. You're not going to see a number.
6 seasons ending April 4th, 2023.
Right, but he got an extension. So figure through 2025, 2026, somewhere in there. So 4 more years.
Who would give him an extension based on what he's done?
Well, based on last year, right? He made it.
But they weren't good last year. They just made a run. They made one 4-game run. They're 6-20 this year.
I know.
Yeah. According to a report from John Rothstein, Ewing received a contract extension after last year's run. Wow.
Yeah. So Danny Manning's the only one out of the 3 of them that won't be coaching next year.
Yeah. Well, he may be coaching. He just won't be coaching in Maryland. He'll be a head coach somewhere. He hasn't done a bad job. I mean,
that's my question. So why would he not be in the running for that slot?
Because they want to reboot the whole thing. And Maryland thinks they can do better than Danny Manning.
Okay. Well,
I'm not sure what doing better means. And I
was just about to say that. I was like, what?
I'm not sure. We've had the discussion. Maryland is probably a top 15 to 20 coaching. You can make the argument they're a top 15.
Sure.
A very reasonable argument that.
I mean, I'm wearing red today, so
I thought it was in honor of Florida State.
I'll go in with that Kool-Aid. Go ahead. Top 15 to 20.
Kool-Aid my ass. You're recruiting the DMV. You're in the best basketball.
And that's not the Department of Motor Vehicles, ladies.
No, it is not.
That's the District of Columbia,
you're
Maryland.
You're in the Big Ten, which is a great place to be for basketball.
Yeah.
Well, look, the ACC is a joke at this point. I'm sorry.
I agree.
The SEC does nobody. They're very good, but nobody cares. The Big 12 is very good. Nobody cares. So yeah, I think it's a top. If you told me the bottom of the top 10, I would probably disagree, but I could see it there. There's a top. So they're who they're going to go after. They're going to go after. I don't know. I think they're going to go after Sean Miller. Yeah, I do. I think that's coming.
Right, because Lefty Drizel didn't leave too sour a taste in your mouth.
It was 35 years ago. So, I mean, let's reasonably look at our options here. Pitino. Bruce Pearl.
No, you won't get Bruce Pearl anyway. Bruce Pearl just signed like an 8-year extension. You're not getting Bruce
but the out's not terrible, and he may want to be at a school where it's actually football basketball is the main sport.
He's not leaving.
I don't think he is either. But I'm throwing some.
How about Billy Gillespie?
Why the hell would I want Billy Gillespie? You saw an article about him on Sports Illustrated, and suddenly he's interesting?
No, I'm just saying
Billy Gillespie's coaching at a junior college right now. I just said we're a top 15 to 20.
Yeah, but that's your Kool-Aid. I don't believe that that's true.
You don't believe Maryland's a top 20?
I don't believe that you are getting a good coach out of a good situation. So Bruce Pearl is a good coach in a good situation.
Yeah, right? I don't think we're getting Nate Oates. Like that, I don't think we're getting Nate Oates.
Even though Nate Oates is basically Bruce Pearl, right?
The contract's bigger.
No, but my point is a good coach in a situation where basketball is not the primary.
I think we're getting a Kevin Willard. I think we're getting an Andy Enfield from USC. Like these are the names that are realistically being thrown around. I think we're going to make a run at Shaka Smart, but I don't think he's going to come.
That would actually be a good. I'd like Shaka Smart would be a good hire. I don't think you're getting Enfield out of USC.
Oh, I think Enfield would come tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Read about it. Enfield will come. Enfield wants to come back to the East Coast.
Okay.
I don't particularly want Enfield. Supposedly, we may talk to Ed Cooley from Providence. They're having a great year. I'm not exactly excited about it. I don't know. I really don't. It's so early. You know, this happened in the middle of the year. It just left us really randomly throwing names out for the most part.
Yeah, but it happened. For you, it's like 3 years too late, so you didn't care that
For me,
it
it's
happened.
For me, it's 5 years too late.
Yeah, so you didn't.
Look. I liked the detergent higher. Yeah. I really did. It didn't work.
And you like detergent higher as much as you like detergent leaving. So I mean,
I was furious that Turgeon left the way he did.
Well, the way he did, right? Turgeon he didn't leave like Randy Edsel did. I mean, at least he said goodbye.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I mean, look, the throwing the crap on the Maryland fans is absurd. We were in one Sweet 16 in 11 years. Spare me. We haven't been good.
No.
You know, we've been the best team we had got hit by COVID, and that happens. But we had one team that was really talented and they underachieved. That was it. Everything else has been mediocre. So, and we're not a mediocre basketball school. We're not a great basketball school, but we should not be a mediocre basketball school.
No, that's true. Look, there are teams that are definitely on the down that should be on the up, and there are teams that are on the up that should be on the down. I mean, that happens every year.
Yeah, get up on the downstroke. Come on, everybody, get up.
Wow, you are full of it this week.
I'm full of it every week, man.
That is very true. Did you watch any of the NBA All-Star game? Any of it?
I saw the end of it. And actually, it was the first slam dunk contest I've seen live in probably 15 years.
Oh.
That was horrible.
Horrible.
I would rather watch me and you on an 8-foot hoop than watch.
I'm not sure I could dunk on an 8-foot hoop, by the way.
If you can't dunk on an 8-foot hoop, working out 6 hours a day like you do, we may need to work on legs a little bit more.
It's the knees. It's just the knees. Look.
It was watching Jalen Green try 7 times to make a mediocre dunk that would have gotten him 7th place in the 2010 slam dunk contest was just horrible.
So how do you make the slam dunk contest better? Talk to me.
The only way to make it better is to have competitors who people care about in the game in it.
Would that even make it better though?
I don't know. But maybe you only invite people who are either participating in the rookie second year game or in the All-Star game. I don't know. I'm throwing out random shit. The problem is there's not that much creativity left.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is there any way, in my opinion, I'm not sure there's any way to resurrect this slam dunk championship. I think you have what you have.
No, I mean, look, if you had Giannis and LeBron and people like that.
But again, what would they be doing?
I'm not saying it would be great. I'm saying you're saying to regenerate interest in it. I'm not saying it would be a significantly better product. I'm saying it would be more interesting because people want to see LeBron and want to see Giannis.
You want to see LeBron over Obi Toppin. Sure. I will tell you flat out, I've never thought, look, LeBron is a tremendous dunker, right? Because of the force that he brings behind it. But there's never been a whole lot of. Have you ever seen LeBron do a 360 dunk? No. He doesn't need to do it, right? I mean,
he's 270 pounds. I'm not sure he can.
But have you ever seen Giannis do one? Like these guys.
Yeah, but again, the point isn't that it's going to be great. You're not having. They're not doing Vince Carter dunks.
Right. Exactly.
You're saying what would generate interest?
Okay.
Generating interest would be players that people care about. Nobody cares about Cole Anthony.
Except for his father, Greg.
That is probably true.
Yeah.
I would hope he cares about him. Yeah. Nobody cares about Juan Toscano Anderson.
I didn't even know that player existed, by the way.
Okay, guess what? That player exists.
I got that. And Obi brings home a slam dunk championship for the Knicks. The third.
That's all you got, buddy.
Third one in history. Can you name the other two?
Nate Robinson,
yes,
and Skywalker.
Yeah, there you go, Kenny Skywalker. Yeah, well done.
Sad, he's probably like 60 now.
No,
well, he won I think he won in '85.
Oh, that would be horrible. Hold on, he may be 60. Oh boy, I'm like, he came out with Ewing, so it could be.
Did he come out with Ewing?
I thought so.
He's
No, he's 57. Okay, I feel a little better. He came out in 1986, and Ewing came out in 85.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah,
yeah.
I mean, well, look, the Knicks are in wonderful shape. You got Kemba, who's now sitting out for the year.
Yeah.
Julius Randle's contract starts next year.
Doesn't even kick in until the extension doesn't kick in until next year.
You have a dead man walking as a coach, and you're literally running RJ Barrett again, and you're running RJ Barrett into the ground
again, because that's what Thibodeau does.
Yes,
but he normally does it not to young players. He normally does it to veterans.
Except the veterans just aren't very good.
Well, no. Here's the thing that the Knicks have. And I read an article, John Hollinger said this a couple of days ago on The Athletic. And, I like reading Hollinger because Hollinger's all about stats, right? It's all about numbers. Hollinger said the Knicks are great. He actually said the Knicks are great because they have 5 guys that are exactly the same skill level. They don't have anybody that is probably a 1 or a 2 number in the NBA, and they have nobody that would be lower than a 10 in the NBA. But the problem is everybody is between a 3 and a 9 in skill level. So they have just the same amount of skill on every player on the court that comes on. So you can't rely on anybody else. Now, look, RJ Barrett is obviously the number 1 and Randle is definitely the number 2. But would Randle be a number 2 on any other team in the NBA, a good team in the NBA? Probably not. I mean, what other good team would he be the number 2 on?
Portland?
Is Portland a good team, or are they going to
lottery? I'm throwing out here.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd be the 3 on the Lakers.
He'd be like the 5 on the Suns.
He'd be the 2 in Dallas.
Yes, that's true. But Dallas may not be very good. But Dallas may not be very good either. I mean, Dallas.
They're a 4 or 5 seed right now. They're a good team.
Yeah. Have you seen what Doncic has done over the last 12 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
he got pissed when everyone made fun of his weight.
Wouldn't you?
Well, maybe he shouldn't go into training camp at 260.
He reminded me of Khalid El-Amin at the beginning of the year.
Ooh. For those of you who do not remember the Fat Boy.
No, Doughboy. We call him Doughboy.
Khalid El-Amin was the point guard for the 1999 UConn National Championship team.
By the way, is that an awesome poll that I just made?
That is good.
Thank you. And he also had like 4 kids. I mean, you can look this up, but he definitely had kids while he was at Connecticut, because one of my buddies actually had a sign during the game with an arrow sat down that said, "Khalid, I am your son." So
there was another guy named Antoine Jobert who played for Michigan in the 80s. I think his nickname was Fat Boy.
And we don't condone bullying, by the way, here on this show.
I'm actually on Khalid's Wikipedia. And he does. It's not mentioned.
What? Whether he has children?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. But anyway, whenever somebody comes into training camp that is overweight, I always think of Khalid El-Amin because, Khalid El-Amin, I believe, was an All-American, actually.
I don't think so. He wasn't the best player on that team. Rip was.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And
he did make the All Big East team.
Okay. He definitely ripped the hearts out of many a Syracuse fan numerous times during his time in.
I'll take your word for it. We never played him
during UConn, but anyway, so Doncic has been like 29 points, 8 assists. Like he has been on fire since the Porzingis trade. And so we had you watched the end of the All-Star game? Did you watch the ceremonies with the 75?
I watched it on tape.
Okay. You taped it?
No, I just watched it on YouTube.
There was a legitimate tape going on there?
Yeah, I was looking at it. I watched the guards. I shut off the forwards halfway through, and I just didn't see the centers. But I'll watch it at some point. It looked really neat. I did laugh at the booing of Stephen Curry. That dude is just a monster. My God.
Yeah.
And
and Isaiah's little spiel about if you're not. It's funny how Isaiah wants to know why people don't like him, and people wonder why he was. I understand Jordan wanted him off the Olympic team in '84. I get that, but when you say crap like he did, no wonder.
I don't even know what he said.
Oh, he basically said, like, if you're not here, you're missing out. Like, if you're not here,
probably not wrong.
If you're not here, you should be here. Like,
damn it, the dog's barking. I'll be back in 2 minutes. How this works.
It's all about the dog. It's all about the dog. And to tell you the truth, I don't even remember the dog's name. I should remember the dog's name. I've been with the dog for a while. But anyway, so yeah, he said something akin to that everybody should be here, and I'm kind of like, you know what? Why? Why even do it? Why do it? So again, the ESPN released their 75. I know Seth has his 75. I wanted to ask Seth about a couple of players on ESPN 75 and where they were. The big one to me was James Harden. Harden was in I believe he was 40, in the 30s or in the 40s. Had him up here a second ago. And also I wanted to, why can't I find James Harden? Have it right here. And I didn't like the fact that Bill Walton was so high. Bill Walton was number 44, which those that know me know 44 is, Harden is 50. Number 44, Kyrie Irving not in it at all. And Seth's back. So Seth, let me ask you this. ESPN releases their top 75 in conjunction with the NBA All-Star game. Two names were really surprising to me and where they fell. Actually, three. I'll go in order. Number 50 being James Harden. I'm not sure Harden was a little low in this.
I think they probably took into account. I mean, look, I think I had him 38, 39. People are pissed with James Harden.
I know.
And he's really never shown to be a great playoff player. So I'm not going to go. Look, he's a Hall of Famer. He's made an enormous amount of money. He has whined his way out of two teams. I'm not going to make a big deal about it.
Okay, number 44, Bill Walton. I cannot see why Walton is on this list. He's not a top 75 player.
It's higher than I would have him. The problem is, and we've seen this before, is it's the Terrell Davis thing. But he didn't even have 6 years of greatness. He really had 2.5.
Right.
I wouldn't have him on there. Look, college, he's the number 2 player of all time. I'd have him behind Kareem.
Yep.
But pro, no, I wouldn't have him.
And then number 39, number 39 is Kevin McHale. I think that is way too high.
That's higher than I have, but I don't have it. Actually, let me pull up my list. Hold on.
Yeah, pull up your list.
For those of you who don't know, I did a list I last year.
No, it's just, well, yeah, at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of the NBA season, when they released their top 75, you did your list. I did not rank my list. I just put the 75 guys. And look, I found that ESPN putting Kevin Garnett 21 was music to my ears. It really was. I thought KG was low in most people's rankings. I think 2021 is about right. Elgin being 20. Yeah, I think that, and it's funny that Jerry West is 19. So like the three of them all together.
That's he's too low.
Well, I will tell you who their top 10 is, so we can go do it. So number 1 was Jordan. 2 was LeBron. 2 was LeBron.
He's 4. Yeah, he's 4 for me.
Yep. 3 is Kareem. 4 is Magic. 5 is Chamberlain. 6 is Russell.
2.
Right. So you have Russell 2, and then Bird 7, Duncan 8.
Yep.
Big O 9. Kobe.
I think
10.
I had him about 11 or 12, but no argument.
Big O 10. Shaq 11.
I have Shaq further down.
Explain to me why you have Shaq further down. And I think we've had this conversation before, but Shaq was just dominant. I mean, there is nobody in the last 30 years that was as dominant as him.
I had Shaq at 19. Yeah. First of all, dude couldn't hit a free throw.
Correct.
So literally,
neither could Chamberlain, by the way.
Sure.
Okay. I'm just trying to put A and B, right? So
but nobody hacked a Wilt.
Oh, they definitely hacked a Wilt.
They did, but not to the same degree as Shaq. The last 7 years of Shaq's career were literally going to 4 teams as just doing nothing.
All right, so Chamberlain attempted approximately. I mean, I'm spitballing here using the averages. Probably about 12 to 13 free throw attempts a game. Okay, Shaq averaged about 10.
Okay,
maybe less, maybe 9 to 10. Okay. So they did hack a Wilt.
They did hack a Wilt. Shaq had no basketball game. Shaq was an amazing athlete. Like Shaq says this. Shaq has said straight out, I wasn't better than Hakeem. I wasn't better than Wilt. I wasn't better than any of these guys. He says this. That's why I don't understand the debate. He full-fledgedly has said this. He wasn't. He had no outside. He had no mid-range game. He was a big, strong, amazing athlete who could dunk and hit shots within 6 feet.
Yep.
Great player.
Yep.
But he didn't work overly hard. He didn't condition himself at all, except for about 4 or 5 years. I mean, look, I have him as a top 20 player of all time. It's not like I'm literally dropping him, ridiculously.
No, I got you on that.
I have him at 19. I mean, I think also once he left the Lakers, like he was the absolute second banana in Miami when Wade won.
Sure.
And then after that, I mean, he played another 6-7 years as just a journeyman for the most part.
So after Miami, he played four years.
How many years did he play in Miami, though?
Age 32, 33, 34, 35. So he played 4 years in Miami. 3.5. Hey, Jake. 3.5 years in Miami, and then he played 3.5.
And what were his stats in Miami?
In Miami for those 3 years, 4 years?
Yeah, the last 4 years.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta do this. So he averaged 16.9 points a game, 16.9 points a game, 9 rebounds a game.
Okay,
so 16 and 9.
Okay, Jake, you can go play Scrabble on my phone, okay?
I mean, Chamberlain averaged the last 2 years. Look, Chamberlain. Looking at Chamberlain's stats are ridiculous.
Well, that's why Chamberlain's I have him number 7 all time.
Right, but look at the competition that Chamberlain played against, except for Russell, and look at
Morgan. Hold on a second.
In 1973-74. No, I'm talking when I say off the charts. I'm talking about in 1963, 1964, 1965. Who else was there?
Nate Thurman, Hall of Famer. Walt Bellamy averaged 20 and 10.
Thurman started in 64, so he was not there for the majority.
He was not there for 63. I apologize.
No. He was not there for 60, 61, 62, and 63, which happened to be the 4 best years of Chamberlain's career. Then if you look at Bellamy was there at 62. So, okay.
Willis came in when? 65, 66?
Probably because he played 65. Yeah. So So let's look at this 19. I love looking at Chamberlain's stats. Like they are
they're hysterical.
Right. They're like video games. So 1961, 1962. First of all, he played all 80 games. That's number one, which is insane. He also averaged 48.5 minutes per game.
Yes.
You do understand how many minutes there are in
that is more than the 48
minutes. Like that in itself. He averaged, so he never came off the court. Never. Yeah. Except when he fouled out, which I don't
because
think
he was a ridiculous athlete.
So 48.5 minutes per game. He averaged 39 and a half shots a game. Some teams don't take 39 and a half shots a game in today's NBA. He made 50% of those.
That's a pretty good percentage.
He actually shot 61% from the free throw line. So let's understand this. He shot 39 and a half shots a game, then went to the line 17 times. Okay. He pulled down 25.7 rebounds per game. His assist ratio, only 2.4.
He led the league in assists.
Not that year. Not that
year. No, 1967.
Wait. And he averaged 50.4 points per game.
1962.
Yeah, that's a 61-62 year. Now, the year that he led the league in assists with
7.9, I think.
So he had 7.8 and he had 8.6, but it doesn't say that he led the league either one of these years.
He led the league in assists.
I'm not sure he did. I think
he did.
Hold on. So 1967, 68. That would be the year they had 8.6. So let's presume he did. 8.6 assists a game, 23.8 rebounds per game, and 24.3 points per game at the age of 31, where he played 46.8 minutes per game.
And again, you talked about that early in the career, there were no competent.
Right. This is the end.
But you got Reed's a Hall of Famer, is top 75. Thurman's a borderline 75. Russell is 75.
Right, but you're not okay. So I get the fact that he's 20 points, eight assists, and 23 boards. Yeah, that's I get it, right? I get it. But let me ask you. But if you put Russell Westbrook up against this, right, and looking 30 years from now, and you look at Russell Westbrook's numbers, you'd say similar things. Would you not?
I don't think you do. Here's the thing. Yeah, Chamberlain only won 2 titles. Okay. He won 67. I think he won 2. 67 with the Sixers and 71 with the Lakers.
Sure. Okay.
He went against the greatest team of all time as a dynasty.
Yeah.
Every year. Who had 6 Hall of Famers, 5 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
Westbrook made 1 final. Westbrook never made his team. The teams never got better because of Westbrook.
All right. So hold on. So let's play this game, right? Who's Westbrook most compared to? Really? You're thinking that hard?
Who are you thinking of?
Oscar.
Okay.
I think he's
because of the triple-double thing. Okay,
right, but I think he's very much compared to Oscar. So Oscar's best season was 30 he had a number of these, but let's say 30 points, 11 boards, 9 assists. 30 points, 11 assists, 9 boards. Or take the triple-double year. 30 points, 11 assists, and 12 boards. That's a pretty nasty year in 1961-62, right? Now, remember, 1961-62, who was he playing against? Bill Sharman? Bob Cousy? Maybe?
No. Look, you compare players to the era they're in, obviously.
But that's my point, is that Oscar was so much bigger than everybody else in that era. Oscar was a 6'9" point guard. So people...
6'9"? No.
I thought they said 6'9", right?
No.
6'6". Sorry, 6'6" point guard. 6'6" point guard.
Oscar Robertson was the guy who would take it, he almost like the Mitch Richmond-esque kind of thing, where you get the ball, he'd be a point guard who'd get the ball down low He would post up his guy and score.
Sure.
Ironically, what Mitch Richmond used to do
And
as a two guard, although Oscar was better at it.
That's why Mitch Richmond's not on the 75 and Oscar is.
And I love Mitch Richmond, as you know, but
Yes.
nor does he belong there. But I mean, look, are you saying they're empty statistics?
No, I'm saying that people value 30, 40, 50 years ago more than they value today. That's what I'm saying.
I disagree. How many guys maybe the top tier guys?
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. The top tier guys. I think people.
Let's kind of
talk
talk this
about
out.
this, right?
No, let's talk this out a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
You also had guys like, you had Chamberlain and you had Russell and you had Pettit, and those guys. Who knows how they would have done in this era? We have no clue.
Correct.
I mean, I think they would have been fine. But did you just roll your eyes at me on that one?
Pettit, I'm not sure, but the other
Pettit would
two.
have been again. He was a 6'9" power forward who could shoot from the outside.
Yeah. Okay.
He would have been fine.
He would have been fine. He wouldn't have been. He wouldn't have been an all-star.
But you can't compare that.
Okay.
Like, look, nutrition is different. Sleeping is different.
Sure.
Workouts different. You can't. It's not.
Sure. Wilt would have banged 40,000 women, not 20. I mean,
his thing would have fallen off by then.
was it 2.8 women per day in his heyday?
I'm not good at math. I don't know.
You're not good at math.
I mean, I think it's more the second tier. And actually, someone asked me, they compared my list to the Athletic 7 to the NBA 75 list.
Yeah.
And who did I not include? Well, I didn't include Lenny Wilkins. I didn't include Dave Bing. There was maybe one or two other. The second tier of the all-stars of the 50s and 60s get left behind, I think, a bit.
Okay.
I don't think.
But I
don't know how they.
But I think the first tier get overrated.
I don't. So, again, what do you compare?
And again, I think the 60s and 70s are completely underrated.
So what else is it? Wait.
I said the 50s and 60s are overrated. The 50s and 60s top players are overrated. When you're getting to the Wilts and you compare them to the Shaqs, right? Those two. Now you get the 80s and 90s, or even 80s and 90s. Let's say 80s to now, right? I think get a lot more pub than the 70s in general. I think the 70s just get lost.
Because nobody cared about the NBA in the 70s.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I think
the
they completely get
is the lost decade of the NBA.
I will tell you, I was saying this the other day. Why is the NFL? Why do people know more about the NFL than they know about the NBA in general? I have one reason and one reason only. It's NFL films. It is every single play in NFL history, every big play in NFL history is documented.
Because nobody watches NFL films anymore.
No, but I mean, even the history, it's there.
But you can't see it. We used to watch it when we were kids.
But even on if the Cowboys made a Super Bowl, if they made a Super Bowl, right? Let's say they made the 49ers made the playoffs,
Come on,
right? Well, the 49ers made the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? On the anniversary of the Dwight Clark catch, right? Mm-hmm. They actually played on the anniversary of the Dwight Clark catch. And we saw that catch 4 times during that game. 4 times.
Okay.
You only saw that because somebody was filming it at the time. You see Havlicek stole the ball, but when I told somebody, and granted this person is much younger than me, I believe he is 25.
You probably said, who's Havlicek?
No, I didn't talk up to that. I said, could you imagine a case where the NBA Finals was on tape delay? And he's like, what do you mean? What's tape delay? And I was like, okay, well, let's talk about what tape delay is first. And tape delay, for those that are too young to remember, was you filmed the game and then you played it later. You played it on TV later in the day. By the way, what else was on tape delay? The 1980 Miracle on Ice was on tape delay. Nobody watched that game live unless you were in Lake Placid watching that game live. And the reason why they could do that is there was no Twitter and there was no internet. So nobody knew the damn outcome until later that night when everybody watched it. So the Lakers Celtics Lakers Sixers in 1980, that game 6, that Magic Johnson game, I
It
believe
wasn't the Celtics, buddy.
I said Sixers.
Oh, okay.
I corrected myself. I said Lakers Celtics and then Lakers Sixers. I believe it was on tape delay. I believe that game started at 9:00 at night on TV. And so people don't know the 70s because, like you said, it is the lost era of basketball. And most of it just because you didn't have it filmed at
It was
any
also
point.
considered a bad era of basketball.
You think that's wrong?
That it was bad? No. It was a very selfish, me first era. Out of what, again, I've seen very little of it. I know of it, but I know much more about the 60s, the championship teams in the 60s of the Celtics, and the 66 Sixers and the 69 Knicks, than I do the 76 Golden State Warriors or the 78 Washington Bullets or the 79 Seattle.
But why? But why?
Because there's no other than Rick Barry, there's no superstars on any of these teams.
Because they were all in the ABA?
Some of them were the ABA was closed in 75. They came over. It was not a good era of basketball. When you think of the 70s in the NBA.
You're thinking of Dave Cowens, Havlicek. No, I'm just naming the players, right? I'm not saying
the best player of the 70s.
It's Rick Barry.
Barry?
It's Oscar Robertson. But
Oscar Robertson retired in like 72.
Yeah.
Who's the best player of the 70s? It's Kareem.
Dr. J? Moses
was at the end of the 70s.
So Dr.
J was in the ABA.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You have Kareem.
Oh, yeah. Kareem. Yeah.
Everybody's top 5 of all time. I think that's a pretty solid consensus.
You think he'll stay there? Say, go 30 years from now. You think he stays there? I don't.
I think there's a chance he does.
I think
Jordan stays there.
Yes. But I think Jordan stays there because of sneakers. I don't think Jordan stays there.
I think LeBron stays there because it's still new enough.
Yeah. I think Kareem's gone. I think
Kareem may, because we never saw Kareem in his prime.
Well, and I was about to say Kareem's game was so special, right? In such a different game than even Chamberlain and Russell.
Yes.
It wasn't. I mean, Chamberlain's game was what can we say Chamberlain's game, at least in part, was much like Shaq. I am bigger than you. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want to do to you. That's what he did.
Who exactly did Shaq play against at the center level during his prime?
Hakeem,
you're going to say
Robinson.
I don't consider Duncan a center.
No, Robinson.
The end of his prime, and he was much better than Robinson. Robinson was a finesse guy.
No, he was, but that's I guess that's my point, right? So you use the stats of Chamberlain and you say these are astronomical. And you look at Shaq's stats, they're just as astronomical, just in a different way. Even if you want to say the competition was different, I mean, let's look at Shaq's stats. I just had him up a second ago. I mean, Shaq averaged 29 points a game his third year.
So did Jerry Stackhouse.
Wait, but Stackhouse didn't go 29, 29, 27, 27, 28, 27, 29.
Shaq was a great player. I've never said he wasn't. I just don't have him as high as everybody else does.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. All right, so to me, I think Kareem – so if you're looking at the top 10 – let's just look at the ESPN top 10 for the giggles.
Jordan, the Seth Damon's top 10.
Well, I'm saying in 25 years, okay, 25 years from now, Jordan's in there somewhere, right?
Yes.
He's going to be in there. LeBron is definitely going to be in there. LeBron may actually be more than Jordan at that point.
Yeah.
No, at that point.
I've fallen off of that. It's a comparison. LeBron is 4. I have LeBron at 4.
I think my point is, I'm not saying it's the Seth Kamens list.
Yeah, no,
I'm talking about the list.
Forget.
Right? People forget.
Kareem is not as immortalized as Chamberlain or as Bill Russell is.
Correct. And that's why Kareem's going to fall out.
Well, he's not going to fall out of the top 10. He'll fall out of the top. He may fall out of the top 5.
So LeBron, then Kareem, and I say Kareem's out. I don't think
Out of what? The top 5 or the top 10?
Definitely out of the top 5.
Okay.
Magic stays.
Because Magic's legacy.
Because you're going to get now the Showtime, the HBO series about Showtime, and Magic becomes back into.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything because that's coming out in 2 months, and we're talking 25 years from now.
Yeah, but the people that never saw Magic now get to see this. The Last Dance. How many people? You had this conversation with me. How many people saw The Last Dance and said, "Oh my God, I didn't realize how good he was"?
A lot of people, a lot of younger people.
Okay.
But who's going to watch The Last Dance 25 years from now?
No.
Who's going to watch Winning Time 25 years?
Hold on. But those kids, and I call them kids, right, that are 20 years old right now, those are still the people that are going to decide in 25 years who's in the top 5.
But they're not going to remember it.
You don't think they'll remember The Last Dance having watched it? No? Okay. All right. So let's keep going. So Chamberlain, I think Chamberlain stays. His numbers.
Do you think Bill Russell and Chamberlain are going to jump Russell? Are going to jump Kareem all time? 10 years.
Oh yeah, I think Kareem's just going to drop. Yeah, I think Russell. Look, Russell's 10 rings aren't going anywhere.
No.
Right, and Chamberlain's stats aren't going anywhere. And yes, you look at Kareem's numbers, and Kareem's numbers are what they are. But Kareem was much more of a look. You're gonna scream at me when I use this word, compiler, than he was a dominant force. Do you know how many times Kareem led the league in points?
2 or 3, I'm guessing.
2. His second and third year. That was it.
Do you know how many times he won the MVP?
I'm not saying that. I think it was 5 actually.
I think it was 6.
6.
I could be wrong, but I think it was 6.
How many times did he lead the league in rebounds?
Once.
Right. Exactly once. I'm not.
Victory!
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying Kareem. Look, we saw Kareem. I appreciate Kareem. But Kareem played 20 years while these other guys did not. The reason he is number 3 on the list, is he still 3? Jordan, LeBron, right? 3? No, he's 1, right? Is he 1?
On the points list, he's 1.
Points list. So he's still 1. Right. Will he be 1 in 20 years? I don't think so.
Probably not. I mean, LeBron's probably going to pass him.
Right. So if you make that, so that's what I'm saying. Like the compiling.
There'll be no defining characteristic of Kareem.
Correct.
As a basketball player. He'll be more remembered in other ways, which does make sense because
he wants to be remembered differently. He doesn't want, if you ask Kareem, I guarantee you he doesn't want to be remembered as a basketball player.
No, it's not. It's not as important to him, which just shows what kind of person he is, to be perfectly honest. Let's keep going through this list. That's interesting.
Okay,
so Bill Russell, top 10?
Russell's going to keep his 10 rings, right? So unless somebody wins 11.
I don't think it's likely.
Right. Okay, so
is Robert Horry walking back through that door?
Charles Haley may, though. Hey, the USFL is coming back. Okay,
my son will be ecstatic. He misses football already.
I'm sure. Bird, I think Bird drops too.
Because nobody, unless you saw Bird,
you can't appreciate Bird.
You can't appreciate Bird. Bird. If I had to have one guy shoot a 3-pointer to save my life, to make it, it's Larry Bird.
Oh yeah. Oh, if I wanted one guy to hit a half-court shot to save my life, it would be Larry Bird.
I said that to someone while we were watching I said that to Ziskin actually while we were watching he laughed. I said no, Curry's amazing. Larry Bird is the most ice cold shooter ever. Period.
I would ask Ziskin. I would be like, Larry's 6'9" and Steph is 6'2". I'd prefer the 6'9" guy with the very long arms to shooting than the 6'2" guy.
Well, you also have to remember the NBA. I mean, the basketball, the 3-pointer wasn't prevalent.
Oh no! If the 3-point line was prevalent when Larry Bird was playing, Larry Bird may be number 3 all time in points.
Well, his back gave out too early.
I know he played 13 seasons. I know,
and his last 2 weren't great. But
Okay, so Duncan, I think he drops too. Look, Duncan gets a lot of pub for being Mr. Fundamental and the championships, right? But his soft spokenness is going. It's good for the people that remember him.
I think with Duncan, also though, you kind of go by position. Jordan is unequivocally the best point guard of all time, but there will be people who will say Kobe. I don't know how that's possible, but they do. The center position, you can argue Kareem, you can argue Bill, you can argue Wilt.
Sure.
People argue Shaq. I wouldn't put him in that argument. I don't know if anyone will argue Duncan is the best power forward against Duncan being the best power forward of all time.
Okay.
And that may be what keeps him up there.
That may be. That may be.
Because who is the number two power forward?
And to your point, power forwards are a lot different today than they were,
yes,
than they've been. So is anybody ever going to be that type of player again? Right? Yeah.
I'm looking through my
who's the closest in the NBA right now to Tim Duncan? Can you even name a player that plays like Tim Duncan right now?
No.
Anthony Davis?
No.
No, that's the closest. I'm not saying that's anywhere. I'm not saying that's the guy. But I'm thinking about tall guys that play the four. Remember, Jimmy Butler plays the four.
Right, the four is a different position than it was.
But that's what I'm saying. So Anthony Davis plays the four, right? Kawhi Leonard plays the four. OG Anunoby plays the four. Is that the closest that you get? And I'm not saying that's close to Duncan. I'm saying, is that the closest you get to the type of player that Duncan was?
No, I would have to think about who would be the closest comparison.
Kristaps Porzingis? I'm just trying to think, right? Because, as you said, the position has certainly changed.
It has. On my list, my number 2 is Elgin Baylor.
And Baylor and Duncan were totally different players.
They were.
So, all right. So, Oscar is number 9.
He'll fall.
I agree.
Because he was not the most popular player in the league to begin with, to say the least. He wasn't the most popular teammate, to say the least.
Oh.
And when we were growing up, before, it was pretty simple. Your starting guards on your all-time team before Magic, unequivocally, were Oscar Robertson and Jerry West. Jerry West has stayed relevant in the NBA world for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Oscar Robertson is not.
Yeah.
And you said this is about perception.
Absolutely.
I have West above Robertson on my list.
And you'll see Kobe jump him too.
Yeah. And I have West above Kobe, which doesn't.
And you'll see Kobe jump him too.
Yeah.
Kobe in memory will jump 3 or 4 of these guys.
Exactly. And Kobe to me wasn't that. He just wasn't. He threw a playoff game, for God's sakes. He was not a great clutch shooter. He was a great volume shooter. He was a great player. But you remember, he was hated for most of his career. It was only like in the last 5-6 years where he became beloved.
Well,
he was not great.
But that's – hold on. But he was great. Kobe averaged 35.4 points per game at 27, 31.6 at 28.
He averaged 35 in a season?
Yes.
Did he really? I don't even remember that.
He went 35, 5, and 4. And then went 31, 6, and 5.
What was his field goal percentage at 35? At the 35,
hold on, 45%.
That's not bad for that's not bad for a guard.
No,
look, he was a great player. I'm not saying he's not. Would I have taken him over Jerry West? I don't think so.
I think it depends on the era you're playing in.
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, if you're playing in the era of today, you certainly are. If you're playing in
Of
the era
course.
of the 60s, you're taking Jerry West, right?
Well, because Kobe didn't exist in the
Well, Kobe, even Jelly Bean didn't exist back then. But I mean, look, if I'm taking the 1960s version, I'm taking Bob Cousy, Bill Sharman. I'm taking every white guy along the way, and then put Wilt or Russell in the middle, and I'm good.
No, you wouldn't take Cousy in the 60s, and you wouldn't take Bill Sharman in the 60s. They're 50s.
All right. So anyway, we'll touch more upon this next week. I think this is a good conversation, especially let's do some comparisons next week as to, all right, we take Duncan, who's the closest. We take Magic, who's the closest. We go down that road. Because until baseball starts, I got nothing to talk about for a while.
And they have a long wait.
And
I talked about Syracuse basketball.
Syracuse basketball, we are 2 games over 500, and we have 3 more games to play. And remember, I've told you, Jim Boeheim has never had an under 500 season, not one in his career, which I think is one of the greatest attributes to him. But the next 3 games are Notre Dame, Duke, and UNC. So
that used to sound a lot more imposing than it does now.
It's still imposing.
It's imposing because you're not very good.
Look, Duke's 23-4. Notre Dame's 19.
Duke is very good.
Notre Dame's 19-8, and North Carolina's 20-8, and we're 15-12. So I mean, and if we lose the first,
my season has been over for weeks.
But we do play tonight against Notre Dame at 7:00. So I'll be sure.
I would be very happy to play against Notre Dame. That would mean I'd be back in the ACC, which I miss. I don't think we should be there, but
But okay. Okay, so we got about 2 more minutes. Kudos to the Rutgers president this week. Did you hear what the Rutgers president said this week?
I did not.
We will never make money in athletics. He actually came out and said it. Now, that's something that has been known for probably 20 years. And it would be interesting to see the Maryland president maybe saying that as well. Because when you go as far in debt as Rutgers did, even to join the Big Ten.
Well, that was what happened to Maryland. Thank you, Debbie Yellow.
But that's what I'm saying. So I got to say, each athletic director, each president tries to blow smoke up your ass that these were good moves to make financially. It was about time that somebody said, you know what, maybe it wasn't such a great move to even financially to move to the Big Ten. So kudos to the president of Rutgers, who I can't remember his name and probably won't. And Kemba, it was good. It was good having you on the team. All right. You got 2 minutes.
Oh, guess what, man? The Olympics are over.
Woo-hoo! Regular TV starts again.
What do you watch on regular TV?
My DVR gets filled up with stuff.
I got nothing.
I suggest you watch Billions.
That's on Showtime. I don't need it for that. Look, I still enjoyed it for whatever it's worth. And Phil Mickelson, you're an ass.
You're figuring this out now.
No, I mean, that may be what's the Billy Madison comment when he talks about in the professor goes, in 30 years, that is the most ludicrous, inane comment I have ever heard. You get negative 500 points and God have mercy on your soul.
And we are all stupider for listening to you. Yep. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it.
We'll see you next week. Have a good one, everybody. Adios.